Hi, katzcradul here. I want to do a review for you of the Norpro sauce maker. I purchased this back in September of last year, and this was my first time using it. I'd seen a video by I'm Still Working where she used it and she liked it and was impressed with it, and that was recommendation enough for me, so I placed my order for it. I ordered it from Home and Tractor. I think I paid about $49 for it. I labeled it with the date I purchased it and then just put it on a shelf until my tomatoes started getting ripe a couple of weeks ago, and so I got it down and started looking at it. There are several attachments available, and I'll tell you about those in a minute, but the one it comes with is for processing specifically tomatoes, and it has this screen and then this spiral. I call it an auger because that's what it looks like to me. And so I got all the pieces out and didn't think about doing the review for you until we were almost through processing our tomatoes for the day. And I'm really glad I'm making this voiceover instead of using the audio that was on the camera, because we were just a little tense and tired and short with each other. So here what I have is I've placed a board on my old table. My table's over 100 years old, and so the board on the edge is just slightly warped and wasn't working very well when I screwed the sauce maker down to it, so I just used that board to stabilize, and it worked pretty well. I showed at the very beginning the little lever that you have for turning and screwing it on down tight, and it works really well. Here I'm trying to put the little plastic piece that the sauce slides down off into your bowl after it's ground up, and it has little wing nuts on both sides that you screw that to. We made it easier to get on. We struggled a little bit at first because my bowl is a little too deep, so I slid the bowl out. Prepper A's tightening the screws on both sides. You also have to tighten that little wing nut on the handle occasionally. I'm wiping condensation off because I used some thawed frozen tomatoes. My first harvest of tomatoes wasn't quite enough to make anything with. You can see how you slide it under this chute right there. It would have helped if my bowl was a little more shallow, but then you would have to be dumping it all the time. Anyway, I saved the first harvest of tomatoes and just put them in the freezer. It was only 2 quarts of them, and so I thawed them out slightly and ran them through the machine, so that's why it's sweating like that. We have tons of cherry tomatoes, and that's what I was processing today, and 2 bags, like I said, 2-quart bags out of the freezer. And then here's the last batch of tomatoes I'm going to do, and because it's so hard to break every little cherry tomato, you know, they're firm in the skin, that these I just hit with my immersion blender real quick just to try to break them up and try to make the work go just a little bit faster. So I'm going to pour that into the bowl at the top. You'll see it here, this big plastic receiving bowl. So I'm going to pour that all in there and just see if I can speed it up, because really we did a lot of cranking on those little cherry tomatoes that were so the skin is so tight and firm on it. It just seemed like it took forever to get them to go through. But here it comes, the juice. You can see the pulp coming out of the screen. There's a shot of the auger turning in there. Prepper A did most of the cranking. She seemed to like doing that, and that was fine with me. I just kind of managed the rate at which the tomatoes went into the receiving bowl there. This is what we were left with, skins and seeds, and in those cherry tomatoes there were like 100 seeds in every tomato. Unbelievable. And so there it comes with this little plunger that you push down in order to work to get the tomatoes seated properly against that auger. So this is skins and seeds, and I really wasn't going to do anything with that except give it to the chickens, but Prepper A begged me to run it through again, and actually we ran it through 2 more times. Here we go, dumping the seeds and skin back in just to see if we could get any juice. She thought that'd be fun to see because it looked pretty wet to her. I was a little resistant to the idea, but I'm glad she talked me into it because we ended up getting a good bit. So we're just shoveling it back in. And that's what we got after running the skins and seeds back in. And if I pull away a little bit here, you're going to see that's a really big bowl. So a good bit. And look how dry they came out after we pressed the remaining juice out. It just fell off the auger in rings just as it came out of just as it came out of the chute. And I'm not sure I got a real good picture of that, but there's a place where the sauce comes out, which is out of this screen, and then out of the end of that screen is where the seeds and peel and all the waste comes out. And you have to have a bowl in both places, one to receive the finished sauce and the other to receive the waste product. So the screen is held on by 2 bolts that have a wing nut here, and when I eventually get it undone here, I unscrewed a little bit on each side is not to put too much pressure on either one. And the reason we stopped is because the machine became loose on the board, so that's why it's swaying back and forth there, because I just decided to take it apart on the camera and show it to you, so I'm just holding the machine up manually. It isn't tightened to the board. And here it comes out. We probably should have kept on and run it all the way through instead of stopping midway, but we were tired. We weren't cranking anymore. So I'm going to take the handle off to allow that to let go. There's a big spring in there that's attached to the handle that drives the auger. So you can see I've already got the big receiving cup off. And here we go. Now that was packed in that screen, all the peel and all the seeds. It was just packed in there, and it was really pretty hard to get out. I should have gone ahead and just cranked the handle until all that fell out, but I wanted you to see how the seeds and the skin wrap around that spiral there. Yeah, there's the big spring that you bolt the handle onto, and then it goes in the center of the spiral. So I'm having to use a towel to try to get some grip on that to pull that out, and it's going to come out eventually, and you can see all the seeds. Now look at this. I'm just going to pry it off for you. They're pretty dry. It really does extract most of the juice out of the tomatoes. It just falls off in rings there. The spiral and bowl are real easy to clean. All of it's real easy to clean except the screen. And those seeds are so small on the cherry tomatoes, it just took forever it took forever to clean that screen. There's also a gasket right here. It gave me fits trying to get it off here, but it's really not that hard. I just couldn't get a grip on it. That little gasket holds that tight up against the main body of the processor. I'm talking thousands of seeds. Unbelievable how many. But that's it, the Sauce Master. I'm really glad I didn't post this review right after I did this, because I was not real happy with it. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of cleaning up, and I really told Prepper, I said I really wish I could have done one of those try before you buy things, because I think I probably wasted $50. It just was a lot of trouble to me. So I kind of changed my mind a little bit, because these tomatoes were processed on a Friday. On Monday I decided to do another batch of tomatoes and not use this machine, and what I did was I blanched my tomatoes, took the skins off, and then blended up everything in the blender. And I will tell you that soup, I made soup out of both batches, the one on Friday and the one on Monday. The soups look very different. One of them is loaded with seeds, which I personally don't mind. I don't mind those little seeds in my soup. In fact, I kind of like it. But if you don't like it, if you don't like seeds in your soup or salsa or anything like that, then this machine is for you, because it really does exclude them. So I can see the value of it after doing it both ways, if you like a seedless product. If you don't mind the seeds and actually like them in your salsa, tomato soup, spaghetti sauce, whatever, then I certainly would invest in this machine, because I think it's much easier just to process my tomatoes, blanching them, getting the skins off, and then putting them in the blender. In fact, for my salsa, I don't even take the skins off my tomatoes. I just blend them in the blender, and they are perfectly fine, and you don't find big piece of skins in your salsa or anything. and there's absolutely no waste that way. Anyway, just wanted to let you see how the machine works and what it looks like, the pieces look like, and if it's for you, then Tractor Supply is the place where I got it. There's lots of other places to get it. I'm sure Amazon carries it, and it's not that expensive. It is a little bit of a mess to clean up, but you know, you decide whether that's for you or not. It also comes, you can order special, the berry screen and the salsa screen, and a different size spiral for berries. But all that, if you get the machine, all that information is listed for you there, and you can order readily. So I hope this helps you, just letting you see the Norpro sauce maker. Cat's Cradle.